you feeling stuck, lost, tired, or uninspired? We've all been there, including myself. I'm Coach Des, mindset motivator and lifestyle entrepreneur. I'm here to tell you that the best, unapologetic, and limitless version of yourself is yet to come. The Born Unbreakable podcast is here to inspire just that. With motivating guests from all different walks of life and around the world, their stories will empower you to unlock abundance and your unbreakable spirit. Do you need accountability? Reach out to me for a free consultation of how I can support you in reaching your maximum potential. This episode is brought to you by Sherpa Way Marketing. Are you a business looking to gain greater visibility online through search engine optimized content? Maybe you need effective ad campaigns to kickstart or bolster traffic to your website. Sherpa Way Marketing has seasoned experts that are bilingual in English and Spanish. Let them take the guesswork away and enhance your brand positioning with their comprehensive marketing services. Go to sherpawaymarketing.com. That's SHERPAWAY marketing.com to schedule your free 45-minute consultation today. Welcome to the Born Unbreakable podcast. We're back with a friend of mine that I met through another friend of mine. And this topic we're going to discuss today is one that I've been anticipating for a while because I think about it often, and it's happiness. That's a really broad subject matter, but specifically happiness in the workplace. And the workplace for many of us comes in all shapes and sizes these days. Whether you are a small business owner, whether you work from home, you step into an office, maybe you work for a corporation, it's an important part of what keeps us going. And if there's anything less than great happiness at work, then it might make you not want to wake up and do what you do every day. So I have an expert with me today, Tia Graham. I'll tell you a little bit about Tia. She's the founder of Arrive at Happy, and she's also the best-selling author of Be Happy as a Leader.
Be a Happy Leader.
Be a Happy Leader. She has it here. If you're watching on YouTube, check it out. Be a Happy Leader. You can find it. Tia, what's the best place that people can go? Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, local like bookshop.org is local bookstores. But yeah, audio, ebook, or paperback.
Are you kidding? Everything. You could get it in every shape and size of how you do books today. And this is probably my favorite thing to say is this title, Tia, Certified Happiness Officer. Like every place needs to have one of those. And I know they don't, but hopefully from what you're going to share with us today is that we're on a trend or maybe an uptick to having more people that are trained to do this kind of great work. But I know you've worked with a lot of different organizations, places like Hilton Hotels. I know you came from the luxury hotel space, Hewlett Packard, the American Heart Association. So you've been around a few blocks. Talking with leaders, corporations about this subject matter of how to elevate employee engagement, which I don't know anywhere that is not trying to do that. I work personally in the hospital space, so I'm talking with executives in that sector around just that all the time. Employee engagement, improving the experience, improving morale. What other things can people be doing to have longevity, to work on their retention, and work on actually attracting talent. What's the kind of environment and culture do you want to promote that you're cultivating that makes people go, and that is a place where I want to be. That sounds like a place that I can thrive and strive towards my goals for the long term. So first of all, thank you for taking time to be here.
Of course, my pleasure.
But what, as you've gotten into this space and you've worked with so many corporations, like I mentioned, what are some of the challenges? What are some of the challenges that are preventing people from, having a happy work environment?
Yes. So the top ones, I would say, because there's a lot of different factors, but some of the big ones right now are long working hours, known as overwork. And there really is sort of this cult of overwork. There's a glamorization of overwork. Although the research shows that after 50 hours of work a week, your productivity and your output takes a nosedive. And the happiest people in the world are the ones in Scandinavia, and they work an average of about 37 hours a week. So when you are overworking, you are sacrificing, sleep, exercise, maybe eating healthy foods, spending time with friends and family, etc. Time for hobbies, time for rest, for just relaxing. So that's a really, really big one. Another one is toxicity or negative work environments. The research shows that 2/3 of managers in the United States are disengaged, or they're not engaged with their work. So that's a lot of unhappiness trickling down the corporate ladder, if they're not engaged. And so that's a big one too, of not receiving very much positive communication, whether that's written, verbal, over Slack. So just this lack of sort of positivity and optimism within the workplace as well. And then lack of autonomy or micromanagement. So autonomy is a huge driver of happiness while working, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're in an organization. So it's really having this culture of trust where everyone is treated like an adult, and that you assume people are doing their best, and you're not micromanaging. And then another big one is a tremendous focus on results, the results of the business, the revenue, the market share, etc. All of these metrics, which of course you're in business or you have a business. It's in my background's in sales and marketing, so I'm all about results. But it's lopsided where there's not as much focus on relationships and people. And to be a successful leader, to be a successful entrepreneur, you really need to have both. It's results and relationships. Yet most people within business focus way more on results. And ironically, if you don't focus on relationships, it hurts the results. So,
They
so
go
those are
hand in
just a few.
hand.
I have a lot more, but those are some big ones.
Oh, those are big ones. And that you're so right. Results and relationships, it's totally what it comes down to.
Yeah,
Every organization that I've ever connected with, and even talking to friends that are in other industries,
yeah,
that is the theme of the day, because everyone is striving for more.
yeah,
A bigger share, like you said, or expansion, growth. All of those things, I think,
yeah.
are so huge. And is there a way to balance that? Is
Yes,
there a way
yes.
to have both?
So I want to back up and say that this is a way of thinking. Okay, so the happy brain operates differently than a negative brain. Someone's feeling negative most of the time, or neutral, not super happy, but not miserable, right? That's sort of like, know that when you are happy and when you're well, your brain operates differently. And also, happy people are more successful in business. So there was just a massive study done with close to 1 million people over 5 years. And it was all different levels in the military. And you might think military and corporate America are very different, but it is a huge business. It's an organization. They think of all the different levels and the titles of people working, right? And the study showed that happy, and this is one, I'm just citing one. There's multiple studies that prove this, that the happy people out of these 1 million people were 4 times more likely to get a promotion, to make more money, to get an award or an accolade. So how you feel directly impacts how successful you are in business. There was also a huge study done in 2019 with Oxford University and a big British telecom company. And it showed that when you're happy while you're working, you're 13% more productive. I actually think it's higher, but this is what the study showed, you're actually more creative and innovative when you're happy. Your brain, as I said, your brain operates differently. You will sell more. You will take better care of customers. So when you think about balance, what I want everyone listening to know is that your happiness and your well-being is a part of your business plan. It's not separate. It's not work, life. Okay, I have all my work and then I do these things. how you live your life when you're not working affects how successful you are at work. So if you're not sleeping, if you're not exercising, if you're not spending time with friends and family, if you're not experiencing, or investing in your marriage. I just got back from, we were talking about trip to the Caribbean, all of these different things, you are going to show up differently as an entrepreneur and as someone in business. So if you want to be more successful, make more money, grow your business, I mean, happiness is a vehicle to do that.
It's vital. Your
It's
your
imperative.
energy,
I say the happiness imperative. Yes.
yeah, your energy emanates. And as a leader, if personally, I know that the energy that I bring to a meeting, whether it's like this virtually and we're looking at each other through the computer screen,
Yeah.
or me physically walking into a room, it can make or break the whole vibe, and how much people are there to contribute or tune out to the
Are you
situation.
motivating them? Are you motivating them? And yeah, energy is contagious. Emotional contagion. Emotions are contagious. Absolutely.
Mhm. Yeah, it's funny because one of the biggest place that I've seen stark examples, because I travel quite a bit,
Yeah.
is on the airplane. The
Ah,
difference between when you have a stewardess who smiles at you, make eye contact
yes.
with you,
I couldn't agree
um,
more.
engages with you, and all of a sudden that's your experience. It's like,
Mhm.
it sucked that I was delayed and it took longer, but man, that was an awesome flight. That
Yeah.
stewardess was great. No, she gave me some extra pretzels, whatever.
Yeah.
But it changes the
It
experience,
changes the
right? That
experience. It's
that
so
customer
true.
service.
Yeah. And, we think about all these resources, that you have in business, right? You have your team members. Money is a resource. You might use that money for marketing, sales development, whatever. These are resources, but the energy that people bring, that's
Mhm,
another resource, and it's an organizational resource that, can impact productivity. And what's productivity? It's getting more done. It's working faster. So it's not about hours, right?
mhm.
It's about what you do. So, um, yeah,
'Cause
I think
fatigue
that,
is palpable. I mean,
yeah,
you could tell when a team is just just in the dumps.
yes,
Everyone's just, "Do you have any ideas?" And it's silent. I mean,
right,
people are just like, "Is it time to go home? Is this over
right,
yet?" I mean, it's
right,
not a good time.
right.
So, one of my questions is this, 'cause there's so many efforts in the vein of, employee engagement,
Yeah,
right? Because people are just, most of the times what you see is, in whether it's a small place, a big place, there's some kind of survey, right? Maybe
yeah,
that's done, with some questions. Hopefully it's done a number of times, either a couple times a year, so you can
yes.
see quarter over quarter or year over year, are we
Yeah,
doing better or
you do it
worse?
way more than once a year. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
hopefully it's more than that. Maybe that's the one of the first steps, is to figure out what that frequency is. So
Yeah.
there's that data point, and usually it's that of which there's a team of people, leaders, that take that information and go, "Huh, we have some areas of opportunity.
Mhm, mhm,
We can work on this." So
mhm,
when you're coming to an organization, by the time Tia gets a phone call and
mhm.
is like, "We have some work to do," what does the process look like for when you step in and either examine existing results, or if they have nothing, then
Right?
what do you do
Reduce,
with that?
measure.
What if there's I mean, hopefully there's something that you can look at, but
Yeah,
if
but
there
no,
isn't,
sometimes there isn't. Yeah, or there's one organization I was recently working with, and they measure every 3 years, and I was thinking, what is
yikes.
the point? Just don't do anything. That's just like makes people. So yeah, so absolutely the in addition to using the engagement, the relevant engagement data, or doing more like, and I have my own measurement tools that I will help with, support with organizations measurement tools. It's also working with the leadership group and the executives of getting a really clear understanding of what are your business goals and what are your people goals, right? Where are you trying to go in the next 24 months? What are, customer satisfaction, et cetera. And the companies know their metrics, right? This is the results piece really well. And then it's, okay, what are your people goals? What do you want your culture to be like, et cetera? And then what I do is I create various options for that organization and for the teams based on everything that they've told me. So I will give a variety of options that will include professional development and inspiration for the leaders, managers, supervisors, and then a lot of times I will come in and give talks to a whole organization as well. And it is a for the leaders, because the majority of who I work with are leaders of people. For the leaders, there's really two main pillars, and my whole goal is helping businesses grow. That's what Arrive at Happy does. The two pillars of growth come from teaching leaders how to increase their own happiness and well-being so that they're more successful. Because remember, you're more productive, creative, you will sell more, you'll have more retention,
You can't pour
etc.
from an empty cup, right?
And exactly, and you're healthier, you live longer, you'll have better personal relationships. I mean, there's just endless benefits. So that's the first part, is using the science of happiness and neuroscience, and I teach people how to increase their own happiness, all based on research. And then the second pillar which is where the certified chief happiness officer comes in, is what can leaders do day in, day out to increase the happiness and create sustainable happiness for everyone working in the organization. And I have lots of different topics under those, where it's, yes, it's great you do a holiday party. That's awesome that you offer a yoga class once a month, but let's talk about actually how people feel every single day, because emotion drives behavior. So you want people feeling more joy, excitement, calm, pride, connection than anger, frustration, stress. Yes, everyone's going to feel some of that at work, but it's about more of the pleasant. So that's what I do, is I work with leaders. Sometimes it's a keynote talk, sometimes it's a full day. I'll do like executive retreats. There's a couple organizations I'm working with right now where it's ongoing leadership training every single month, in addition to some coaching and consulting. And then I give people a lot of resources. So in addition to the book, I have a tremendous amount of resources under both of those pillars, so that they can have and do have a 12-month happiness plan, right? Happy for the leader, happy for the team and the organization. So that's my process.
Everyone needs a 12-month happiness plan. That is my statement for the day. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think so.
if you're listening right now, can you imagine? I'm just thinking about it. Can you imagine being at a place where either you as a leader were committed to everyone having that, or you as a person working with a leader had that?
Yeah.
That changes how you look at what you're doing, that you actually can get excited that joy is a priority
And
in
I'm so glad
your
you
day.
said that, because when I do talks and I'm working with, I want to say, I don't know what the right term, I don't want to say frontline, but different team members, right? Not the
Yeah.
executives and managers, but different team members in the organization. So many times they say, wow, it's so cool that my company brought in a happiness expert. Like that we're, because a lot of times there's vocational training, you're
If
learning
anything, it's like
about
a productivity expert, like work
exactly
harder.
where, right. Where, because it shows so much care and humanity and investing in them,
Mhm.
So, and everyone, there's over 170,000 research articles just on human happiness, and it's grown. It's probably bigger by now. There's so much research, and that was one of my main motivators when I studied with the Harvard professor who taught happiness at Harvard. Was like, oh my gosh, everyone needs to know this information. The whole world needs what's being taught at Yale and Harvard in regards to human happiness. So, yeah, it's a joy to be able to teach others.
Well, it's huge because so much of the conversations that I'm a part of on this podcast and with the world of business is
Yeah.
managing depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, overwhelm, stress,
Mhm.
and that is part of the reason why I have seen an uptick through the pandemic. Part of it was just the environmental factors that pushed a lot of organizations to emphasize their wellness programs.
Yeah,
That was a big thing that I started seeing pop up
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not saying they didn't exist because I do think that many times they did, but the promotion of it wasn't very
Yes.
strong as far as saying, "Hey, you actually can take a mental health day. We
Yeah.
do offer this, virtual yoga or uh, wellness
Meditation.
check."
Yes. And then there was some, like, I think even maybe it was Bumble, where
Mm,
and other companies I also saw that, hey, we're giving everyone a week off. I just saw PwC announce that. So normally they have summer Fridays, I think July and August, where Friday at noon, everyone stops working. And they just added the month of June. So now it's summer Fridays, June, July, and August of, yeah, we're going to give people more of a break, So yeah, there's a huge explosion. And Deloitte actually has a chief well-being officer inside the company. This woman named Jen Fisher. So yeah, for sure, that's one of the big silver linings of the pandemic, that companies are focusing more on, like you said, people's wellness and just well-being overall.
mhm. Now, one of the things that I'm a big because I'm a consultant, so I know all of the Deloittes and the PwCs. It's been the industry that I've been in for 17 years, and so there is anytime there is the introduction of something that can change the trajectory and the behavior of how people operate and how organizations thrive is sustainability. And this is probably like a thing that if people have listened to me a number of times, they're like, oh, sustainability, they should talk about sustainability again. But it's
No,
like
it's a good thing to talk about.
you if you don't have it, then what was the point, right? It's
Right.
kind of like the person that goes on a diet and says, I'm going to lose this weight and does whatever they need to do for 30 to 60 days. And then after that, you're back to whatever was happening previously. And so it was it was an interesting effort, but it wasn't a sustained effort.
Right.
So I'm curious, as a part of your process, whether you're spending a short amount of time, because there's, like you said, there's different customizations that you do with places, whether it's I'm just going to give you some tools and resources and you're doing the do-it-yourself method,
Mhm.
or someone's doing the full retreats and like deeper level of engagement. How
Yeah.
do you how do you work with places where you feel confidence in the sustainment of the new things that they're introducing in their organizations?
Yeah. Such a great organization. So for me, there are different people that reach out to me. And of course, I also do business development because I'm an entrepreneur. And I choose to work with people who believe in what, it's not like a check the box, like, oh, we need to have, because I don't do yoga or meditation. It's positive psychology and neuroscience. But if I get any inclination, or, you're listening to your gut of like, oh, I actually would I would make the decision of, okay, because I don't want to just be a check the box with someone's organization. So, but I would say 99% of the time, it's people who truly, authentically want to integrate it into the culture. And I'm working with, whether it be the VP of sales or, the founder of a company, et cetera, that, have influence and impact and reach. And as we're working together, they're integrating the tools and practices into how they work. Um, so yeah, I would say that's how. And I haven't, maybe you're making me think, actually, I'm thinking of like people from 3 years ago. I'm like, I should actually go back and check of you're inspiring me of, what are you still using? Is there anything that's dropped off? But what I get at the beginning is this commitment, and it's not just an activity like a yoga class that you're going to do.
Right. Like,
It's a
I'm
way,
going
it's
to
a way of
try this
thinking.
today. I
Yeah.
feel so good. And then it's like, oh, okay. That was
Yeah.
hard.
Not that that's not good. Yeah. But, I'm teaching people how to think and then how to interact with others. So I don't know how you could maybe unlearn it unless you were like, no, I don't want to be happy. I want to be miserable.
No, I
That
think
would be
misery is
the,
actually way better. I'll go
yeah.
back to that. Thanks.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would imagine, for me, if I was doing an investment in happiness, I would want to stay there. I would want to stay in the space of happy. But I love that you're talking about the incorporation, because if you're incorporating different measures or practices, or even I think in performance management processes, ongoing training, there's ways to embed these behaviors so that they actually can be part of processes, standard practice, and measurement.
Yeah.
So that's tremendous. If you
Yeah.
had to say a couple of tips
Mhm.
on things that you've seen be quite successful yet simple, because I think we're
Mhm.
in an age now where there's so much stimulation
Yeah, and information,
and
absolutely.
information, because the internet, social media, all kinds of places where you can get things. And I think we've somehow gone back to keep it simple. What
Mhm.
are some of the things that I can do that are not difficult, I can incorporate into my routine, and this is actually going to have a meaningful impact on,
Yeah.
me as a human
On your
being and
well-being.
how I
Yeah.
show up in the world. What are some of the things you've seen be successful?
Yes, yes, yes. So I'm going to start off with some basic, simple reminders, and then I'll give a few other ones. So I say this quite often that in our society, the beauty, whether it's male, female, all genders, but the industry of how we look, call it the beauty industry, right, is a multi billion dollar industry globally, right? It is so huge of look great and you will be happier, be more successful, find the mate, blah blah blah, right? The stories that we're constantly marketed to. And what I say is you need to take care of your physical body. So sleeping a minimum of 7 hours tonight a night, eating 5 to 7 servings of fruits and vegetables, drinking water, exercising a minimum of 4 to 5 times a week, meditating, right? You have this physical body. Take care of it to be happy, to take care of your brain. There's a side bonus that you will look attractive, right? But that should not even be in your motivation, because that's extrinsic, right? We need intrinsic motivation of living, being, feeling well, and living long, right? For our friends and family too. So that's one, that mind body connection. It's never ever separate. To take care of your physical body because it makes you happier. And then I talked at the beginning about all the benefits of happiness, right? So that's one for sure. A second would be look at how much time you're spending with your friends and family every single week, some in person, some virtual. We're still in the pandemic. And connect with, because everyone says that the most important thing in their life is friends and family, right? If you were going to die in 6 months, who would you spend time with? Your friends and your family. Does your time allotment align with your values? Or are you pushing it off like, yeah, when I get that investor funding, I'll spend a lot of time with my wife, or when I get that promotion, I'll show up at my kids' baseball games, or you might not be around in 6 months. Every day's a gift. So the most important piece of happiness is human connection. So really look at that, because you don't ever get time back. You're right. We only go forward, and who knows? We might not wake up tomorrow. You never know. So that's a huge one. Um, Presence is a really big one as well. And this connects, I think, to meaning and purpose of we are always multitasking, but the neuroscience shows that you cannot multitask. If you are doing 2 or 3 or 4 things at once, say you're doing 2 things at once, your brain is just switching tasks. You cannot do 2 things at once. So if you're on a date night, don't also check your email. If you are,
Who is guilty? There are so many people listening right now, and that is one thing that they could take away from what you said. If there was one thing they could do, I think that that's one of the guiltiest culprits.
oh my gosh,
The multi
exactly. Our phones are robbing us of presence and of mindfulness, and they're stealing from our relationships. So go for a hike without your phone. Just go for a hike, you know? So anyway, this sort of idea of single tasking. And then, oh God, there's so many. I'll leave with one more is um, think about, imagine if it was May of 2023. So it's 12 months from now. And how would you answer if I ask you the question, what do you want to learn? What do you want to learn in the next 12 months? Do you want to learn French? Do you want to learn how to write a book? Do you want to learn, how to play guitar? Do you want to learn how to give a TED talk? Whatever it is, what do you want to learn? Humans are happier when they're learning. So you don't always need to be, getting your master's degree or your PhD or whatever. It could be something small, but children spend all day learning and growing. And I think that's why they have so much joy. And we need to keep learning and growing because the research shows when we're learning and growing, we're happier. So those are a few. I could probably give you 80 more, but I'll stop there. But those are a few good ones.
Those are a few great ones. Those are huge. And you're right. My face was lighting up when you talked about learning. Is intellectual curiosity is one of my values.
Yeah.
I get so excited when there's a conference or something that I
Me
signed up
too.
for that I'm going to go to. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm going to meet this person. I'm going to do this. I'm going to learn
Learn.
this. This is
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
And there's this thing that you're looking forward to
Yes.
because you have that anticipation.
Yes.
So that is so true.
Yeah. And even if it's reading books, watching TED Talks, taking online courses, I mean, there's such incredible opportunity for us to learn. So, yeah. And one other thing that I think is really, really important is giving and generosity. We're a very individualistic society. And I was just talking to someone on the call before this um, about community and our connectedness and helping others, whether it's humans, the planet, animals. And you can do this in your work, you could do it in your personal time. But whenever, and this is a great tool of when you're feeling low and you're feeling like the world is just beating you up, life circumstances are not easy. When you turn your attention off of yourself and help others, or the animals or the planet or all three,
All
you get a benefit. It makes you happier. So it's actually, you could look at it as selfish, but whatever. There's a double
no,
benefit. You're helping and you feel
you
happier.
talking about that is it's so true. I mean, this is a time when I'm going to get made fun of, and I that's okay. I want to adopt a koala
Oh,
because they're awesome. And I would love to. I got this charm bracelet because
I
that
didn't
was
even
one
know
of the
you could adopt a koala.
totally do that. I'm just saying it's a legit thing you can do. I looked it up. And so I had this Pandora charm bracelet. I'm not wearing it right now. I should have been. That would have been great. But it was kind of like a personal vision board that I was
Yeah.
wanting to, create.
Love vision
And
boards.
so I had a koala as one of the little charms that was on there because it was a reminder that this is a thing that I want to do because I want to help the koalas and I want to meet one. I want to fly there and I want to do all that.
Yeah.
But having something that's bigger than you is always something to look forward to, and like volunteering. I
Mhm.
don't know if people are big on that in small or
Yeah,
big
no,
ways. If
it's
it's
huge.
something.
The world needs more of it. Our communities need more of it. Yes.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So many good things. So many good things. Well, I want to spend the last couple of minutes, Tia, with you, just going through a couple of quick questions so
Okay.
people can get to know you. Because
Okay.
that's
I love
one of
it.
my
Yes.
big
Yes. Yes.
messages from this podcast is to be unapologetically who you are. And so learning about people and just, I like people to be encouraged to share more of who they are with others. That's part of connection, human
Yes.
connection.
Yes.
So my first question for you is what makes you unbreakable as a homage to my podcast
I
title?
was wondering when it would come up, and I'm glad that you asked. What makes me unbreakable is my commitment to myself, actually, and I have a lot of different strategies and tools, in whether it's community, spirituality, like all of these different things, but it's my prioritization of self. And I would say um, that self-love that supports my resilience, when life gets hard, when things get really, really challenging. And newly, well, in the last 7 years, I have two daughters. I have a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old. So I can't be broken forever for them also. That's a new purpose and meaning where I had it before them, but now it's the
Stronger.
reinforcement. Yeah, I'm like, I got these two little girls that I got to be, and I want to be strong for and joyful for and be there for them.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that. All right. What is something that's on your bucket list?
Good one. Something on my bucket list. I'm thinking there's a lot of things. So something I would like to do, I'm not at all in a race to do it, especially because I have these two little girls and they take a lot of time. But I would love to continue my education. So I got a degree in tourism from the University of Hawaii, but I would love to get my master's. I would love to because I love learning just like you, and I do a lot on my own. But yeah, just go back to school. I'm thinking positive psychology, maybe others, but just doing research. And so that's definitely on my bucket list of just continuing my education.
Oh, I love that so much. Yes, I'm such a huge fan.
Mhm.
Continuous learning. There's
Yeah,
just it's a gift that doesn't end,
yeah. Oh, let
really.
me add one more. I have
Yeah.
a dream. I have this vision. Sometimes it comes when I'm meditating of one day, and I can be 70 years old, doesn't matter what age, but one day being in a stadium filled with thousands of teenage girls and speaking to them about happiness. So I always speak to adults. I've spoken to smaller groups of adolescents, but yeah, that's just a dream that I have, like for a nonprofit that supports teenage girls. That's
Oh
on my
my
bucket
gosh.
list.
That's a manifestation.
That's a man. Yeah, put it
It's
out
in
there.
the
I'm telling
universe.
you.
It's in the universe. It's gonna happen. I truly
Yeah,
believe that.
yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Okay, what's a self-limiting belief that you've had to overcome?
Oh, that I've had to overcome. Great. I thought you were asking about one that I have right now. One that I've had to overcome is so I spent 14 years as a director of sales and marketing in the hotel industry in Europe and in the United States. And my identity was so tied up into this role and this, like, because what do you say? You say, I'm Tia, I'm a director of sales and marketing. I'm Tia, what's your name? What do you do? That's what everybody asks each other. It's, needs to go away. But anyways, and so I had a limiting belief of, can I be successful? Not that. This is all I've known. I have this huge career. I got this big Rolodex. I have, this is what I'm known for. Now it sounds so ridiculous coming out of my mouth. So the limiting belief was, can I be someone different? Can I know? And now I know, I'm like, no, I was always just Tia. That's just what I did for work. Now I do this for work, but I had a lot of fear about that change and that, reinvention, I guess.
I think a lot of people can relate. Having that
Yeah.
identity connection to what you do, not
What you
necessarily it being
do.
the only thing that you are, right?
Totally. It's
Oh,
like you're a human being, right? It's not, yeah.
first and foremost of all things, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, on the other side of that, what's one of your superpowers? Something that you're good at, that you're really proud of?
One of my superpowers is zest. I have this zest for being alive. And there's, my kid, when I do strength surveys or different things, it like shows it. So To me, it's this energy that I embody, this excitement, and it's contagious. I make others people feel zest too. So I would say
Yes.
that's a superpower.
That might be my new favorite word. I love that word. It's so good. And I feel like it's very fitting when you're a chief happiness officer. Um, okay, my final question is if you could give one last piece of advice
Mm-hmm.
to anybody that's listening,
Mm-hmm.
what would it be?
I would say, here's one that's changed my life, is remember that pain and going through painful experiences is a part of the human experience. And that you can have a healthy relationship with that pain, or you can have an unhealthy relationship. And by seeing those painful emotions as teachers and not running away from them, or keep it overworking or Netflix or drinking too much or whatever to not feel, but to actually walk towards them and say, this is painful, but what are you trying to teach me? What needs to change? Has been a life changer. And I will say the second piece of that is, without realizing it, and I even get caught, I'm a happiness expert and I get caught of this, is we have a belief that if we're doing everything right, we won't have pain. We won't have challenges, but there's no walk without challenges and pain. The human experiences has peaks and valleys. That's what a human being a human being is. So if you're having pain, if you're struggling right now, it doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means you're a human being.
Yes. Oh, that is so true. Okay, this is my PS question because I said that was the last question. Is where can people find you,
Oh,
Tia?
yes. So thank you. So my website is arriveathappy.com, and you can connect with me LinkedIn, Facebook. My Instagram is Arrive at Happy. And then I have a YouTube channel as well where I do a video every single week. So Tia Graham Arrive at Happy on YouTube. And thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for your time. This is tremendous. And I hope that at the very least, people replay this and use this for part of the appetizer introduction to happiness. And then we'll reach out to you for a little bit more. But this has been amazing. Thanks so much, Tia.
Thanks, Des. Look forward to talking soon.
Awesome. Chief Happiness Officer Tia Graham. How amazing is it to have that title? Do we not all want to aspire to be a Chief Happiness Officer? That is freaking cool. I love that. I just love that so much. What a wonderful conversation, and so relevant to our lives as individuals, as people who connect with others in the world, especially in the workplace in some type of way. So I took so much out of the conversation with Tia, but what I would leave you with is this. What are your happiness habits? This is a great time to take stock. What are those things that you're doing to improve your personal happiness that influences the way that you show up to others? What does that look like for you? What's that routine that gets you in the energy where you can deliver that joy to the world? Is it that you take time for yourself to exercise, to meditate or journal, or just give yourself that you time? Is it that favorite coffee shop that you go to where you get your morning treat before you start your day? Whatever that looks like, it's different for all of us. Examine that routine. Determine if there's anything that you might do differently. And my other encouragement is ask yourself, what does service look like to you? When Tia talked about that last tidbit, which I think is so crucial, around when you're so focused on you and how challenging that can be, is if you shift your attention to others and what you could be doing, what that looks and feels like. How do you show up in service of other people around you? Is it you making a phone call to connect and check in on people you care about? Is it doing actual community service in some way with an organization that you are passionate about a cause for? I'm doing some community service next week, which I'm excited about because I haven't done that in a while. I did volunteer work for the Red Cross when I lived in California, and it was very gratifying to be able to help those who were going through challenging times like fires or disasters. And it does take the light off of you, so you can give something good to other human beings around you who really need that. It does make a difference. So think about what that could be, whether it's big or small, if it's one time or if it possibly could be repeated, or you can make a relationship or some kind of frequency with something that you care about, and also maybe with people that you care about. It doesn't have to be done alone. It's something that you may be able to do with others. What could that look like? There's so many different ways that we can improve our happiness, but that is one that I will emphasize. So I hope you learned a lot from the conversation with Tia. I appreciate you being here and listening. If you haven't subscribed or followed, please do so. And remember that you are your only limit. So take action today. Tune in again next time for another episode of the Born Unbreakable podcast. Take care.